Hello and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike Piroworski. I come to you live from the East Coast, the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown, 2A views, conservative news. Craig, before I ask you about how your week is, how was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was phenomenal. I basically relaxed. The weather was great. Did a few honeydews around the yard and stuff like that, but pretty much chilled.
Very nice, very nice. Saturday was mostly a work day. That's that's a media day for me. And then I did fly a little in the morning on Saturday. Flew very early on the morning on Sunday, to the point where I went and had Sunday brunch over at the cigar bar with a little of Kentucky's finest sipping juice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yep.
Excellent.
Good stuff, good
So
stuff,
that's
good stuff.
there. I can't think of a better way to spend the weekend.
Well, one or two ideas come to mind, but nothing we can say in front of people.
Nothing you can say. Nothing you can say around the family.
Nothing on the record.
Nothing on
that
the
kind of
record.
thing.
There you go. I'm all down with that one. I'm all down with that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So hey, why don't we go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor so that we can go ahead and get started for the day.
Let's say hello to our good friends over at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR, odds are you probably already have one of their barrels, but now you can get a new one for project build you're doing, or you may want to replace the one in the rifle you have now. So hitmanindustries.net. Let's say hello to the California Republican Assembly. That's the fighting a good fight behind the enemy lines there. They need your assistance anytime they can. You know what that's like over there, trying to fight Mussolini, a.k.a. El Duce. Then you have, if you want some good combat gear, excellent web gear, tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. These are the people who make it possible for us to come to you. So do us a favor. Go ahead and go to them. Visit their websites, check them out. And if you like what you see, spend a few dollars with them. And make sure that you tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. Also,
dollar bill, y'all.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, if you have not already done so, please take a moment, like, share, subscribe, Encourage your friends to watch and or listen to the program, because, folks, there are tons of ways in which you can partake of the Rundown. Encourage them to find one of those ways, whether it's wherever you find your video podcasts or wherever you want to listen to your audio podcasts, you can find the Rundown.
There you go. Craig, before we jump into too much meat of the show here, I know we normally wait till Wednesday to talk about the weekend, but I have to talk about the weekend now, because we got a hurricane coming this week in Florida, which means the weekend started this morning. Florida,
Really?
When we get a hurricane, it's a weekend all week, baby. It's party time all week long. Hey, can't come to work. I'm hurricane prepping. Oh, can't go do that. I'm hurricane prepping. All we're doing is out trying to buy up all the Corona we can find. That's what we do here in Florida.
Yeah, we know that. It's one of those things. I think in many areas, when it comes to certain quote unquote weather related issues, it's never really as bad in the place where you are, in the place where it occurs. It never really seems as bad as the rest of the country makes it, because you have the national news that makes it seem like, oh my God, there's a hurricane heading towards Florida. They're all gonna die.
Hurricanes are the way that for a week we get rid of all the out of staters. We send them away because we're like, oh my God, you have to leave. We're going to die. If you don't have enough bread, you don't have enough water, you have to go. And so we make everybody evacuate, and then we stay behind and drink beer. It's just margaritas and Coronas. I don't know what it is about hurricanes. It says must drink Mexican beverages all week long, and not go to work. And listen, I've been a boss, right, many, many times, and I'll have an employee call in and go, I can't come in. We're doing hurricane prep. And I'm like, you're from Florida. I know what you're doing.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, life in Florida, it is what it is. I think it's the hurricanes that keep y'all a little. Hurricanes and the humidity that keeps Florida interesting.
Yeah, humidity is. Listen, you think that minorities were oppressed in the 60s here in this country. You should come here, feel the oppression of the humidity. All right, that's real oppression. That's that shit'll keep you down forever.
I have been there. I don't know that I've been there during. Well, no, I take that back. I was there once during the summer, and it was definitely quite humid. It was like you, literally, it's like there's almost no point of taking a shower because you take a shower, you come out, and you never get dry.
Yeah,
Just never.
exactly right.
You give up on the idea of not sweating. You just want to make sure you don't stink.
Yeah, and it's just one of those. We all make allowances,
Yeah.
we just get it. So yeah, so I'll be I may be in and out during the program. It's hurricane prep week, so I may have to go see if they've got any more Corona up at the local convenience store. But we'll be good.
All right. Well, we will be looking out for you, sir. We'll be looking out for you.
Thank
All right, let's
you,
go ahead
thank
and get
you.
into today's stories. The first one, Mike. Oh, wait. I need to let you introduce this one, Mike, because this is your girl, Jen Psaki. And I think, we all know the how you feel about, your favorite redhead. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce this particular story.
All right, I don't know much about the story other than it had her picture, so I saved it. Let's see. That's my girl Jen. I love to track stories with her. In fact, Greg, I think I even texted you last weekend about her. So that was during happy hour or last call or something like that. I don't remember now. So she is now she's moved on. She's over there at MSNBC, right? She's doing her commentary over there, and she flat out said this weekend that listen, if this midterm election is a referendum on Biden, well then the Democrats are going to fail, and they're going to fail hard. And she said now if it was a referendum on Marjorie Taylor Greene, then the Democrats would do good. But you're talking about one tiny obscure congressperson versus the president and his entire policies for the whole country. I think we know where the referendum's going.
Well, most definitely, Mike. The interesting thing about this story that gets me is, I think she's trying to establish her bona fides as a news and media commentator. At least she is being honest, and someone who's coming from, not just coming from the White House, but someone who was who was the communications person within this White House, knows and understands exactly what the problem is and exactly how she knows how hard it was to try and make Biden look coherent, to make his policies look like they made sense. And there's a reason why so many times she talked about circling back, because she figured by the time it circled back, she was going to be out of there making money, talking trash about the White House because, well, is there anything really good that you can say about this White House?
Hold on, wait. I think I had some over here about it. Maybe it was over. No.
Absolutely nothing. There's absolutely nothing substantive that you can say good about this White House, which all the more reason why, when I was talking with one of my fellow school board members who is on the other side of the aisle, and we're talking about Biden, and we're talking about Gavin Newsom, and it was amazing to me. It's like, what world are you living in that you think these two are doing a good job? By all objective indications, by all objective measures, they are failing. One is failing California, and the rest of the nation, if not the world. And there's no indicators at all that they are doing. I mean, race relations are the worst they've ever been. The economy is in the toilet. Crime is through the roof. International relations, none of our friends trust us to be there for them, and none of our enemies fear or respect us. How can you even remotely believe that he is doing a good job? And yet and still.
Yeah, this administration reminds me of a dead fish at the water's edge. You ever been, whether it's the lake or the ocean on a calm day, and you got a dead fish, and it's laying there, it's floating, it's upside down,
right?
It's floating there, and everybody's like, it's like, man, that's something that's just dead right there. That's not going anywhere. It's horrible. And then then there's a ripple in the water, and the Democrats go, "No, look, it moved. It moved. See, it's okay. It's okay." and that's
try to kick it back out into the ocean.
No, it's good. No, it's good. Yeah, tie a rock around it so it sinks. Yeah, it's just No, it's fine. You can't see it anymore. Yeah, that's how I see this administration.
It is horrible, and that's exactly how this administration is. And even people on the inside are recognizing. I mean, when the mainstream media is starting to point out how bad it is, they're like, yeah we give up. Biden, you're done. I think part of it also, though, is that they need a Republican president because it'll bring their numbers back up. They need someone that they can beat up on because they're not bothering to actually do their job with this president. They're carrying water or they're not as much carrying water. They're just not talking bad about him. They're not praising him. They're just not talking bad about him.
I honestly think CBS is close. I think CBS, I know I said this last week, and I got no love for CBS. I think they're going to be the first ones to turn on him. In fact, Craig, I bet you CBS teaches them to tweet.
My.
Could you imagine if he started tweeting in the middle of the night?
I just want to know if he's going to tweet in the middle of the night. I just want to know how. Do me a favor, Joe. If you do that, go reuse the word Barakadakefker so I can learn how it's spelled.
That's it. I don't want any pictures though, Joe. Not when I peed myself.
Right. I also want to know exactly what you said when you said my butt's been wet. I want to know exactly what that is. That was. I want to know what that was. Not what you meant for it to be. I want to know what you actually said.
You got him in between shots, so that's probably what he meant. Walking around like a good boy with the clean butt.
Anyway.
Good story. All right, don't forget, Jen. Give me a call. Hook me up.
All right, Jen. Jen, your boy Mike's calling you out. He wants you to come. He wants you to come visit. All right, my boy, my friend, my compadre, we'll call him, Gavin Mussolini, otherwise known as El Douche, or El Douche, the douche. He was in New York last week, but he decided to also make a stop in Texas. Once again, and I don't know what it is with him, where he feels he needs to go and try and badmouth Republican governors or badmouth Republican states, or let me clarify, states where Californians are leaving. It's like, dude, they left California to leave you. They don't want you coming to visit them in free America. But he decided to go to Texas. Now, the funny part about it is that, the money he is spending to travel there, he's not supposed to be spending because, Mike, there is a travel ban on 22 different states where Gavin Newsom is not supposed to be going, or at least no state money is supposed to be spent on travel. Now, there is an exemption for security. So if the governor goes there, they can, the security team, and by the way, he has a rather large and expensive security team. They are allowed to travel with him in order to protect him. And quite frankly, in most of these 22 states, I would suggest that he have security because most of the people in those states don't like him. They either are there and they see what he's done in California and they say stay away, or they're from California and they had to leave California because of him. But Mike, I just find it interesting that Democrats would pass this sort of travel ban stuff, make it so that you're not really allowed to travel there. You're not allowed to spend state dollars, except there's one person who gets to exempt themselves or will exempt themselves, and that's the governor, Gavin Mussolini.
Don't do as I do, Craig. Do as I say. That's his entire policy, right? How many times do we have to see that? With him eating at restaurants or going to ball games, whatever it happens to be during the COVID emergency. We don't have to do what he does. We can't do what he does. We just have to do what he says. It's just, I mean, he might as well be, Benito Mussolini with these kind of rules. He's literally the tyrant or the emperor that does what he wants and does not care about the restrictions placed on the normal people.
No, because we're normal people. We are neither as intelligent as him. We are neither as blessed or anointed as him. there's a reason why we have to wear masks and sit 6 feet apart when we want to eat at a restaurant, but he does not. There's a reason why our children had to sit in front of a computer monitor and learn, and his children did not. And that's because, well, he's blessed and anointed, and he is the great Gavin Mussolini, and we're just the peasants.
He is all hail El Ducey.
We all the peasants. Excuse me, mate. Excuse me. Might I get an education, sir? Can I get a bite? Can I pull my mask down so I don't have to eat?
No. You know, best one I ever saw, Craig, is History of the World Part 1, right? Where Mel Brooks is standing there, and he's the king of France, and it's right before the revolution. He says, these are my people. They love me. And then he says, pull. And the catapult throws people up in the air, and he shoots them with a shotgun.
Yeah. Oui, oui, monsieur.
Yeah. That kind of thing, yeah. Yeah, oui, oui, monsieur.
Don't mind if I do.
Si, you look like the piss boy.
And you look like a bucket of... Oh, man. You couldn't make that movie today.
No, you can't even talk about it. We're probably going to get
can't even talk about it. Look, we're like, okay, yeah, I mean, we're not going to use all the words. But for those of you who get it, you get it. So if you don't get it, you missed out. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving right along. Oh, ghost gun ban. Now, ghost guns are basically firearms that, there's another word for home manufactured or home built firearms. They call them ghost guns because supposedly you cannot track them because they don't have a serial number. The stupid thing about that idea is that, a firearm that had a serial number scratched off can't be tracked either. We also know that they're not doing a very good job of tracking firearms that do have serial numbers, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, there was a temporary injunction that was put in place in Delaware, basically making it so that they would not be able to enforce the ghost gun restrictions, which are basically limitations on an individual's ability to be able to sell, manufacture, or purchase firearm parts, in particular, a 80% lower, without a serial number. I think it was interesting, Mike, that they didn't put in place a permanent injunction, but they at least went as far as putting in a temporary injunction. And usually federal judges only put in place a temporary injunction if they believe that there's a strong likelihood that the individual will win the case. So it basically says that he's basically signaling that unless he hears something in oral arguments or something in any additional briefs, he's probably going to wind up overturning this ban.
Yeah, this is a Delaware law signed into law within the past couple months, passed by the legislature, signed by the governor into law, and it was challenged. And yeah, like you said, Craig, the Fed judge said no, that's unconstitutional. Here's the reasons. And you're right. They did not put the full injunction, permanent injunction in place because he gave the opportunity to the complainant here to bring more information that would show that. So it seems like ghost guns now are getting bit because you have a judge here who paid attention to the law and the recent ruling from Bruin and used that standard as given down by Justice Thomas and the majority opinion there of how to examine Second Amendment cases. Federal judges now using that standard are going, these gun laws are unconstitutional.
It's amazing what a difference a year can make in terms of some of these decisions. And we're seeing more and more of these decisions that are coming down in the favor of the Second Amendment. We're going to see we're going to start to see, folks, a lot of challenges to laws that are being put on the books in order to restrict or in order to restrict our rights. And now they're all, first of all, there's cases that are currently in the pipeline that are all being relooked at and reconsidered as directed by the Supreme Court. And then there are the laws that are going to be challenged because, well, you have a lot of municipalities and states that are basically trying to thumb their nose at the Supreme Court. And you're going to see all of those get shot down as well, because there's no legitimate way in which most of these laws are going to be able to stand. And you're going to see some lefties lose their minds.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely right. And that's it continuing to roll, right? We can watch them come down. These little decisions like this, the ones out of Texas, dealing with very similar issues, and oh well, so, sorry about your luck. I guess you're just going to have to go sit back and take it because that's what you told us we had to do.
Well, exactly, and for the longest time we allowed the statists, and I say statists because I don't want to call them liberal or conservative justices, because there were some of those justices that were appointed by Republicans.
Right.
But they are statists. In other words, there are people who believed in giving the government more power over people. And, our nation was founded on the idea of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it's nice that we have a Supreme Court that believes in the rights of the people, not the rights of the government.
Yes.
And
yes,
now,
understood and agreed.
Now, according to some folks, people who believe in stuff like that, people who believe in individual rights and individual responsibility, people who believe in American exceptionalism, who believe that who we are and what we've done as a nation is not an accident, but based on the values upon which our country was founded. People who desire to make America great again. When I say make America great again, it's not that we're not great right now. It's that we're right now not. We are getting away from the values and the principles that made this country what it is, right? Because those values are deemed by some folks, including the Department of Education in the state of Maine, it's considered to be MAGAism is considered to be covert racism or white supremacy. Now, mind you, MAGAism is really for lack of a better term, it's a political movement, political organization, it's not even an organization, it's a political movement, I would say. Now, I don't understand where a Department of Education is supposed to be play any role in the idea of politics, but that's exactly what they're doing here when they labeled they have a video where they labeled MAGA to be covert racism and white supremacy, and yet and still, Mike, they positively refuse to remove the video.
Well, why? We're in charge. Why should we have to do what you tell us to do? I don't know if this comes down with the, did they fire their director there or whatever it is, or did they leave them in place? But I don't get the whole. It's almost like the entitled atmosphere has gone into the workplace now, and they say, "Well, I don't have to do it because I know I'm right." Well, you could be right at home on the unemployment line. That's just. I don't know why more jobs and more employment don't do that as well. It's humorous to me, Craig. I've been to Maine. I visited there. A couple of times. Always had a great time. If I had one word to describe Maine, though, it would be white. Okay, all right. It's just it's white. I'm sure there's some minorities in Portland area, but in the rest of Maine, it's just maybe that's it. Maybe it's the city of Portland, the one city they have of fighting against the rest of the country folks that live there in the woods or in the hills of Maine.
All right, here's some of the things in this education video. Here's some of the things that they consider to be covert racism and white supremacy. Things like colorblindness, meaning you believe that all people are equal and you don't necessarily judge people based on their race. That is considered white supremacy. Having white parents. Yeah, that's white supremacy. Self-segregating neighborhoods and schools. So in other words, if you want to create a black-only school, or you want to live in a mostly black neighborhood, yeah, you are now a white supremacist. Let's see here. Mass incarceration. So putting people in jail who commit crimes is considered white supremacy. Let's see here. Not believing in big experiences of BIPOC. Paternalism. MAGA, there you go. Victim blaming.
Yep. MAGA.
Yep. Anyway, bootstrap theory. In other words, believing that individuals should be able to should try to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That is considered white supremacy. Ooh, here's a good one. All lives matter. So in other words, all lives don't matter. If all lives matter to you, then you are a white supremacist.
I like Columbus Day.
Oh yeah, Columbus Day is white supremacy. Claiming reverse racism. You know what? Paternalism is so racist, is so white supremacy that they have it in here twice. Weaponizing whiteness. What does that mean?
I don't know. I like just saying you're so articulate that makes you a covert racist.
By the way, now this is a great one. Believing we are quote unquote post-racial. Now, is it just me or did former President Barack Obama coin the phrase post-racial?
I don't really listen to him, so I couldn't tell you.
Anyway, well, I just, Mike, I'm looking at all of these and I'm like, all of these things are white supremacy. Assuming good intentions are enough. Not challenging racist jokes. I challenge your racist jokes, in particularly if they're not funny. Cultural appropriation, Eurocentric beauty standards. I look at all this stuff and I'm like, really? This is what you are teaching our children? Anyway, they refuse to remove, once again, MAGA-ism. MAGA, if you support making America great again, then you are a racist. And you are a white supremacist.
Craig,
so I guess I'm a white supremacist.
Yeah, you are. I said that Maine. It was very, very, very white while I was there. And I'm not saying the good thing or bad thing, but I'm trying to figure out how someplace that has a majority, a higher than average majority of white inhabitants, I guess, how that could become how could they be called racist and white racist? And now, after seeing that list and seeing those pictures, Craig, on the side, this is self-hate. That's what this is. If you look at those people, this is that young generation of, oh my God, we're so wrong for what we did 100 years ago that this is now racist. That's what this is. This is the school board and those individuals in there, those woke individuals that have gone to the Berkeleys and the Boston universities, those kind of places, and now they're all woke and they've gone back to Maine with their self-hate to declare their own state racist.
The thing is, I've been reading a book called A Case for Nationalism, and it's funny because in this book, first of all, they misname and they mischaracterize exactly what nationalism is. They try to make it synonymous with racism, with fascism, with Nazism. And really, nationalism has been around, and you can have nationalism on the right or on the left, but the idea is recognizing that, we have a nation, and this nation is made up of people who generally speak a common language. We have a common culture, and we have borders, a place that identifies us as a particular nation. And it's recognizing that those shared values, those shared things, have led us to where we are, and it's taking pride in recognizing we need to hold on to those things because they helped us get to where we are. It's kind of like, imagine being in a plane and being a pilot in a plane and then denouncing everything that has to do with aeronautics and saying we need to get rid of all of these tools, all of these things that have to do with flight. But Mike, you're doing it while you are mid-flight. What is going to happen to that airplane and all of the people that are on it?
Insurance payouts. That's what you're going to get. Big checks. It's just self-destructive, Craig. Right. we all understand and we see this happen, and that's the same thing that's going to happen to these, woke, self-hating, TDS sufferers.
Yep. Right, exactly. And by the way, Trump is just the symbol, and that's the point is. They realize that because the reason why they focus on Trump is because there's so many aspects of his personality that people don't like. They see him as an effective stand-in for the values. Because the problem is, if they actually go after and openly attack the values, then all of a sudden they realize that people who might otherwise be on their side. People they're like, no, wait a minute, I believe in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I believe in that too. It's like, are you people crazy?
That's it. Yep. Insane in the membrane they are.
Insane in the membrane. All right, let's move on to our parting shot. Speaking of being insane, our first one here is in honor of our story about our friend Gavin Mussolini. I think he is going to visit all of the states in which Californians have left. I believe the reason why he's able to do so is because his trip is probably being financed by U-Haul. Because he is the U-Haul salesperson of the month, and he wins it every single month in the state of California. And I think he's going to those states because U-Haul's telling him, hey, dude, you got to get some of our U-Haul trucks back.
And listen, you're exactly right. Listen, to rent a U-Haul, folks, go ahead and do this exercise. You can go on their website. To rent a U-Haul from, say, California to Texas is, I'm just going to make up a number, $1,000, right? But if you want to take one from Texas to California, it's like $20. It's the same thing going from New York to Florida right now. $1,000 to come down, $20 to take it back, because so many of their trucks have gone from your woke states to the free states that U-Haul can't get their trucks back. Nobody's bringing them back. Now they're meant to design to be one way. That's true, but they never foresaw this mass exodus from certain states and nobody coming back.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, in honor of Mike and their hurricane status, you folks really have to kind of understand exactly how Floridians see hurricanes. And I think this one right here really kind of lays it out. So you have Floridians versus hurricanes. You want to describe this one for the folks, Mike?
All right, so it's category 1 and 2, right? And so that's us Floridians standing there saying, "I'm sorry, did you say something?" Don't even talk to me about a 1 or 2. Number 3, you finally have the Floridian going, "Huh? What?" And you might take a look at it. And category 4 and 5, that's the, all right, let's go get the Mexican beer. Let's go get it and put it in water and bread and toilet paper. Then we're good.
Okay. That one is hilarious. Now, right now, as they are preparing for their upcoming hurricane, this also I think kind of fits Florida.
There you go. You can see the 11 a.m. Hurricane advisory tracking the spaghetti model there, and it's probably coming into the Central Florida area. And then you've got Squidward from SpongeBob, like taking his glasses off to look to the side and go, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, it's nothing important." And he goes back to reading his paper.
There you go. Let's get a close up though, Mike, of the actual storm tracker right there. I think there's something that we're missing.
Yeah, the spaghetti models, they tell different stories as they which way they could come, depending on which service they can come. But but clearly you could see here that there's going to be some sort of movement through the central and southern Florida area there with the spaghetti model.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, we recognize. I've seen that message somewhere before.
Yeah, it's eerily familiar, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yep.
All right, Mike, before we head out, because it is about that time, let's give another shout out to our sponsors.
Let's say hey to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Make sure you reach out for them for all your barrel needs. The California Republican Assembly. Make sure you, little dollar bill, y'all, little action there. They need your assistance. And then, of course, uscombatgear.com for all your tactical gear needs.
Yes, folks. Once again, these are our sponsors. They bring us to you. So why don't you do us a favor? Go to them, follow the link in the description of this program, spend some money with them, and tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. With that, once again, we are going to call it a day. We're going to have some fun with the rest of our Monday Fun Day Gun Day. And we will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday.
Hurricane Tuesday.